Hello everyone, a terrible storm hit overnight and changed everything forever. The policeman and his wife could not believe their eyes when they saw their beloved home completely destroyed. Panic, pain, and helplessness overwhelmed everyone. What happened next? Let's follow the emotional and surprising story in today's video. The next morning, a seemingly peaceful morning like any other, the dim sunlight penetrated through the makeshift coconut leaves that covered the roof of the hut, flickering into the corner of the house where the three people were still huddled in the cold and dampness after a terrifying night. There was no more sound of rain, only a strange silence that seemed to signal something had just been lost. Hang hugged the mother and son tightly, their collars still soaked. His wife sat beside them, her eyes blankly looking out through the gap in the leaf wall. No one said anything to each other, only heavy breathing and fear still lingering after the storm. The child clung to his father's leg, his lips moving. "Where's our home, Dad?" The question made Hang's heart ache. He held his child tightly to his chest, but could not say a word. This damp hut was only a temporary shelter. It could not be called a home. Every noise outside startled them. Even though the sky had cleared, the storm in their hearts was still their loss, fear, and an uncertain future. The family quietly returned home in the middle of the muddy road after the storm. Sinnhat held his wife and children's hands tightly, gently comforting them. "We have each other, that's enough." The small house was now just a pile of rubble, but in their eyes, hope had begun to rekindle. Just as they reached the top of the slope, both husband and wife stopped as if someone had hit them hard in the chest. Sinnhat was stunned, his eyes wide open, his wife's hands shaking as she looked down below the place that used to be a warm and cozy home, now only a scene of desolation and ruins. Sinnhat let out a choked scream, tears mixed with the rainwater still on his face. The little boy looked around, fearfully clinging to his father's leg, his lips purple, unable to say a word. Hang still stood still, her eyes red but not shedding tears. His hand tightened on his wife's, cold sweat trickling down his back. Inside him was another storm more violent than the one last night, helplessness, anger, and pent-up pain. He looked at the broken roof, then turned to his wife and children, saying softly but firmly, "No one, nothing, will bring this family down. We will rise again." The early morning wind still blew across the top of the slope, carrying the musty smell of the storm. Hang and her husband stood motionless as if petrified. Neither of them said a word, just silently staring at the foot of the slope, where their beloved home used to be now only a pile of ruins and ruins. Hang raised her trembling hand and pointed forward, her lips moving as if she couldn't believe her eyes. That's our house?" His voice was choked, so small that the wind almost blew it away. The wife beside him clutched his arm tightly, her hand cold, her eyes wild, as if what she was seeing was a nightmare that had not yet awakened. Immediately after that, the family of three quietly walked towards the gate. As they got closer, the scene became clearer, making Sinnhat's heart ache. The roof was gone. The furniture was in ruins. She stood still, her eyes red, unable to speak. The pain had just come. The small house where laughter once echoed, where three people lived, loved, and experienced many stormy days was now just a pile of rubble. The storm passed through the night, leaving an incurable wound not only in the land but in their hearts. The corrugated iron roof was blown away by the wind like paper, sharp iron sheets stuck into the ground, lying scattered like debris from a battle. The left wall had collapsed completely, revealing the blackened kitchen, the ashes not yet completely cooled, the faint smoke still lingering in the air, thick with the acrid smell of electrical short circuits, of furniture smoldering in the darkness. Hang was stunned. "It can't be," he whispered. His voice was trembling. He turned to his wife who was standing unsteadily, her arms hugging her chest, her face pale, her tears dried up. The little son held his father's hand tightly, his eyes looking around in panic. It didn't cry, just stood still, as if waiting for someone to tell it was just a dream. Just wake up. The house was still intact. Dinner was still on the table. After a long moment of silence amidst the ruins, Hang and her husband seemed to wake up. The tears were still there, the pain in their hearts was still burning. But amidst it all, they understood that they could not stay down forever. The house was gone, but the family was still there, and wherever there were three of them, there could still be a home. Hang took a deep breath, rolled up her sleeves, stepped into the rubble, and began to pull the corrugated iron roofing sheets away. His wife also quietly helped, collecting each piece of corrugated iron, temporarily rebuilding the intact wooden wall. The gasps, the sounds of heavy objects hitting each other mixed with the morning birds and the early wind resounded like a silent declaration, "We have not given up." After that fateful morning, the couple no longer had time to mourn. The pain was still there, but they decided not to let it hold them back. From the ruins, they started doing the smallest things, picking up each intact brick, placing each driftwood log, and rebuilding each piece of corrugated iron. Sweat soaked the back of his shirt, his hands became more calloused. But they did not stop. Regardless of the harsh sun or sudden rain, they still worked hard together. No one complained of fatigue, no one blamed. Only the determination silently burned in their eyes. Their home is no longer intact, but their love and resilience have begun to rebuild each wall with faith. Although they do not know what tomorrow will bring, today, they have chosen to stand up and continue writing their family story together. From that very devastated ground. Just as the couple was standing in the middle of the house, holding the old plank in their hands, examining and discussing where to start repairing, a familiar, worried voice called out from outside the gate. "Mom's here. It's raining so hard and the wind is so strong. I'm so worried about you." Both of them turned around, startled. Sinnhat stood beside her, hastily nodding to his mother, his eyes filled with tears. She looked around the rubble, her hands trembling as she touched the broken door frame. "How did it turn out like this, God?" She sighed, her eyes red. "Last night the wind blew in gusts. I just sat there and prayed for my children to be safe. I couldn't sleep, so I left early in the morning." The air suddenly became quiet. A gentle wind blew, carrying the cold humidity of the early morning. In that brief moment, the three of them stood together. No one said anything more, but perhaps in their hearts they all understood. They were not alone. And family love, even in the most painful moments, is always the strongest support. Sinnhat's mother-in-law had just arrived and hadn't had time to rest, drink a sip of water, or change out of her wet raincoat. She quickly rolled up her sleeves and started helping the couple clean up. She didn't say much, just gently said, "It's hard to feel at ease sitting there. With 3 people, it would take us a long time to fix things, but with Mom, it would definitely be faster." As the only man in the family at the moment, Hang understood that he could not give up. He could not let his mother-in-law and his wife and children live in a makeshift house, with the wind blowing and the rain leaking every night. Without waiting another second, Hang took the wooden ladder and placed it close to the roof, tightly holding the box of screws and the old screwdriver that had been used for many years. Sweat stained his face, his shirt was already soaked, and dirt covered his calloused hands. He breathed heavily, his eyes squinting in the harsh sunlight, but he still forced himself to climb up to the roof. The corrugated iron sheets collected from the rubble were now carefully used by him to shoot screws into the wooden frame. The sound of clack, clack, echoed regularly in the quiet space, like the heartbeat of a heart reviving this warm home. After nearly an hour clinging to the scorching hot roof, Hang finally finished shooting the last screws, securing the last sheet of corrugated iron to the temporary wooden frame. Hang was breathing heavily, his whole body exhausted. Without hesitation, he slid down the ladder and jumped. Without even a minute to rest, Hang rolled up his sleeves, rolled up his pants to his knees, and quickly entered the ruined house inside, where his wife and mother-in-law were busy collecting each sheet of corrugated iron and sweeping away the remaining thick layers of mud. Sanadian pak Hang mung cg sajin wongingoma, nanging kudu nindicate kabak tugas sing abat saka gankit lan nungahake barong, and gandhi mungang payan kangon dandani saban lembaran wesi singwis suik didiup anjan duweek ora nate sambat udawa nisu, cringeet jedhul ing bathyuk, clambine jedhul, tungani degoris atis landhep saka wesi krikal, nanging rain tep tening lan sabar. Senadian tugas sing abat banjit detindicake denning pak hang, ibu martua lanbo yoni or atega yen duweek nindicake duikan, duweek or a mungang deglan nantan, nanging yuga anguling langan clambi kango mabanta sabazane, naleka duweek kudu nikal wit kango ndeling jendhang, ibu marachuane sipit mayu, tongani sing rinki izanipang, nulunji palu ing paku lui gampang. Sakwise asuk kurja karas lan riresik, wong telukui nyankarate gawayan nalika shrenjanj wis tekan pukyuk, kringat lan katudapan rarajit lan wedi, patabali menyangoma kango niyapake neta awan. Ibu numet komper kayu, garwe numba siga, lan hang nupik kasempatan kango and gumba rai lan nupik bonu kango wong loro, tampa ake diskusi, kaba huang jerdi apa sing kudu detindicake. Ambun siga masak lan iwak sing digad hog alon nibar ing pawan silik, Anglui ambun bledig lan anjan sais badai, sanadian daran inking prasayan naming is sinapan sayaran rebus, sambal iwak sethithik, saha sop enthang, nanging sami dahar inking anak, sami nirasio sakan karyos inking limrahipin nalika dahar, gumyunjipan gumujang ing wea awan.